The real question is what he did like unforgivable forever?
I feel like he was genuinely like, you know, mentally destroyed by all of this.
And after these allegations, Chugga was admitted to a mental hospital. It got pretty dark for him, bro. Yeah, this is the thing. She was totally fine with it at the time, and she says she didn't know it was a sexual thing. But how could you not know when he's sending shoes to your house and trying to like clearly initiate roleplay? How could you not know that it was clearly a thing he was kind of into, right? Like how could you not know? All right, what's going on with Chugga Conroy? I think what we need to do, because I know I made a video about this back in the day, but I don't want to watch my own video on stream. I need to understand the Chugga Conroy allegations from back then, and then I need to understand what's going on now, because people are saying he's innocent. Chugga Conroy allegations got so much worse. Okay, well, there's no way I'm watching Xander Hall. Wholesome YouTuber got exposed. Secret pervert by the gamer from Mars. Secret pervert. I remember the thing about the Lady Emily girl. Basically, what I remember about the Chugga Conroy allegations, okay? First off, Chugga Conroy, relatively wholesome gaming YouTuber. He's been one of the longest running Let's Players of all time. A lot of people know about him, okay? And I remember there were 2 allegations about him. The first one was from someone named Lady Emily, and she said that he was basically like asking her for feet pictures, like unsolicited, and like preying on him. She was like a victim. But then it kind of turned out that she kind of was okay with it and then decided to go public with it later, is what I remember about her, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was another girl who was like 15 years old at the time that this happened. I think it was like 10 years ago, when I think she was 15 and he was like 23 or something. He was like mid-20s-ish. And he was making like jokes to her basically privately, and that looked kind of sussy. But I think we need to have a full summary of the situation. Punny says, nice tits. True, but he's not a groomer. Well, maybe he's not. I guess we'll figure out what's going on here, okay? Feet, why'd it have to be feet? I don't, dude. Feet are disgusting. That is one of the fetishes I will never understand. With some of the fetishes that people have, you can at least try to like make sense of it in your own mind and like reason why they're into it. With feet, it's like, dude, it's a foot. It's a foot. Feet are disgusting. I get uncomfortable when people's feet are out around me. Feet are smelly. They're weird looking. They look like a malformed tumor. But there are people who like them. They only like feet if there's lint on them. Dude, you need to be put in jail.
At this point, it just seems like there's a constant cycle of new YouTubers being accused of serious wrongdoing, with the outcomes of these cases varying from their audiences not caring to them disappearing from the website for good. This brings us to today's story, that of an old-school creator from a bygone era with an aging fan base who has been brought back into the spotlight for less than stellar reasons.
He certainly has been brought back for less than stellar reasons, gamer from Mars. But what are the allegations?
2024, when another YouTuber named Lady Emily tweeted vaguely about seeing people on Reddit describing a YouTuber who had sexually harassed her as wholesome. She continued dancing.
I think my conclusion from it back then was that it wasn't sexual harassment, but I guess we'll see.
On the subject, posting a follow-up tweet name-dropping several games which were known to be favorites of Chugga's. Finally, she came out and said what some had already suspected. Last year, Chugga Conroy kept trying to get me to initiate erotic foot fetish roleplay with him while he also had a girlfriend. This included sending shoes to my house under the guise of a gift, only to constantly ask for feet pics afterwards. In the replies, Emily provided several screenshots of Discord conversations between herself and Chugga. As she told the story, they had met after he showed up in the chats of her live streams back in December of 2022, and they soon began talking in private. Things started getting strange when Emily posted a selfie to Twitter with her sneakers visible in the background, which Chugga quickly took notice of and messaged her about. After that, shoes and feet became a frequent topic of discussion between the two of them.
Nice sneakers. Nice sneakers. Lol, thank you. I need new ones, to be honest. My everyday pair is starting to see some damage. Lol. Seems sadly typical due to thin fabric. Yeah, the curse of liking shoes that aren't durable. Got them on sale though for $20. Can't complain. Hope you've been doing well. Hey, thank you. I just finished editing a video that was nuts to make. It covers this mall you can develop in Pokemon.
A fact which Emily claimed to
Chugga sounds like a slur. All my real Chuggas in chat know that.
Be uncomfortable with in her tweet thread. According to her,
I don't know how many I have. Lol, I have enough for a full stamina bar and 11 hearts. You can see it on the loading screen. According to this, I've done 54. Good work. If I may be so bold, sneaker size? Sorry, ... sneaker size? Oh, generally around, why does she censor her sneaker size? Does she have big ass feet? Give or take a little, but that's usually what works most often. Nice. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll figure something out. Not sure if you have any dislikes for me to be aware of.
He would often derail their conversations just so he could talk about them, including one instance in which he seemingly halted a chat about video games in order to ask her sneaker size. On top of this, she claimed
Yo, that's base.
that not only had Chugga sent her sneakers and asked for pictures of her wearing them, but the screenshot she shared also implied that he at one point had taken possession of her shoes for a brief period of time. This particular exchange prompted one of the most widely
He stole my shoes.
quoted memes
It's
to come out of
disgusting.
the fiasco. Man, big and stinky?
Yeah. Man, big and stinky, you've got it all. I know. So she does have big feet. That's why she censored the foot size, because she has like size 12 sneaker size, milady. That's very true, Kamui. This is, I think the thing about these allegations that made them so widespread is they were so funny. This screenshot is so fire. Big and stinky, you've got it all. My dear, I could never, ever even imagine gazing upon something more beautiful and more deliciously pungently smelly than your massive toes. Base?
You've got it all. After a while, Emily finally got fed up and stopped responding to his text.
Yeah, these are the DMs where he's like, can you please talk to me? Chugga W Riz, true. Sorry, that was rude of me. I shouldn't say stuff like that, even jokingly. You have your own stuff going on as much as I do. Same day. Hey! Same day also. Like 3 hours later. Hey, sorry, am I bugging you too much? I'm just getting back with work and saw I hadn't heard back. Hey, yo, how's today? Feeling any better? Hi, sorry if I'm bugging you. I understand you've got your own stuff going on too. I just wanted to wish you well tonight after seeing you talking about how much being sick set you back. I've really enjoyed talking to you more. Through it. I'll leave you be after this message in case you need rest.
Texts, resulting in Chugga relentlessly spamming her inbox with messages trying to reignite their conversation. Emily stated that her reason for making all
As far as I know, I'm not the only nor the first person he's done this to. He would try to assure me everything is fine while also clearly trying to initiate fetishized, italicized text RP. This DM is insane. Good. Glad we understand each other. Walks up behind you and trips you with some fancy footwork. You thud to the ground, and I yank her sneakers off in an instant. Haha, loser! Chucks them at you. Can you address the skibbity allegations? Don't talk about that. Turkey toe, true. Thank you, Gina Bean, for the 5. I appreciate you very much. You're my goat.
All of this public was first and foremost to get it all off her chest, but also to expose a pattern of behavior that Chugga had apparently exhibited with multiple other women. In addition, she believed that Chugga was cheating on his girlfriend by engaging in these types of conversations.
Cheating on your girlfriend? Based?
While many people simply decided to make jokes about Chugga Conroy's foot fetish, a great number of people chose to stand in solidarity
40,000 likes. Jeez, these allegations blow the f up on Twitter. Tom type of guy to tickle his belly under his shirt.
with Emily, believing
You mean my own or someone else's?
her to be a victim of a creepy pervert. His subscriber count even took a fairly substantial hit in the days
Ouch.
following the thread's release. However, not everyone was convinced. It's important to note that among Emily's many pieces of evidence was a screenshot of a message sent by Chugga explaining his intentions. As he told it, while he did find feet to be sexually attractive, he also found the topic of shoes to be genuinely interesting even outside of that context. He claimed to have talked about them with many of his friends in a non-sexual manner all the time, and that his significant other was fully understanding and supportive of it. He also asked Emily if she felt comfortable continuing their correspondence knowing this information. In her thread, she framed this as Chugga lying in order to cover up his true intentions, following up the screenshot with another message from the same day, in which he tried to engage her in what she described as fetish italicized text.
Yeah, I remember my take from the time was kind of like, I think of Tom Dark, Chugga Conroy, because there were a few different allegations against him. For this first wave, yeah, the foot allegations. I remember thinking it wasn't like the worst thing in the world. If someone's making you uncomfortable, tell them. Telling everyone but them is literally just gossip, especially when the internet famous. It makes you look like an obvious clout goblin. If anyone betrayed trust here, it's Emily. The impression I got from the time was she was totally okay with the foot stuff, and then eventually she wasn't. She never communicated this to him. And then she just fucking made up an allegation, or not made up. She made an allegation to make it look like he was a piece of shit, basically. And my impression from it was that he kind of wasn't. He was weird, but it wasn't that bad. He realized it was a sexual thing. It wasn't just a joke. I don't know how he thought it was a joke in the first place. And he's like, Madame, may I please perchance indulge in a photo image of one of your walking devices, one of your footsies, one of your feetsies, one of your cloppers? I can't believe I said that. May I please partake? It's nothing like that. No. My sweet pea, it's merely for the plot. Real Chugga hours up in here. Chugga's gonna chug. Chuggas are going to chug. Thank you for the 10, Daniel. The fact that I want to see your feet, it's merely for the plot of them, the story. Like, I mean, you had to know the whole time, right? But the question is, did this guy overstep some kind of boundary? Did this guy overstep some kind of boundary egregiously in a way that he should be held accountable? He should be criticized. He should be shit on. He should be owned in the court of public opinion. Thoughts on undertime slopper? I don't know what that means, but thank you for the two. It's not entirely easy to say right now exactly, but this DM is definitely, you know, one. She did release this one, but this one in particular makes it seem like she was at the very least okay with it at some point. Now, maybe that changed for her later on. We just don't know. That being said, Chugga Conroy did actually end up talking about, so the particular DM, he says, oh, okay, I just wanted to talk about something. So, like, I'll continue this joke with you if you want. This just sort of happened. I got the vibe you were enjoying it if you were playing along, and I like doing this sort of thing. So if I feel like we're on the same page, but I guess due to how it could have been seen in hindsight, I just want to tell you it was just a game. Oh, yeah, I know. Absolutely. I don't mind. I mean, she seemed to not really care. Maybe her explanation is like, well, I didn't realize it was sexual until after, but I kind of don't buy that. Like, he's asking you to see your feet so much. How could it just be a in-joke? I'm the in-goat. Dillcore for 5 says, Worky, while I bought your merch and the women flocked to me, they love the puff print. Thank you, my Chugga respect. Thank you very much, bro. I appreciate that. All my real Chuggas out there buying the merch. You guys are going to be getting so much pussy in no time. How much power have you used today, Tom? A lot of power. I'm cracked the freak out. But yeah, that my impression from the time was it wasn't that bad. The really bad DMs came after the fact, which were with that younger girl, but it was still like an allegation for the time. And you can see the comments kind of reflect it. Someone explained to me how a 30-year-old woman took 15 years to realize she had inappropriate combos with Chugga, but also why a 30-year-old woman needed a random kid to release a statement on her behalf. Really strange. I feel bad for this dude because sending something and taking it back 10 years later, that's not how consent works. Ruining people's career like this is pathetic. So this person was fine for 20 years, then only upon allegation from someone else does it suddenly occur to her that, hey, maybe Chugga did abuse me. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I can get in on this too with those AIM messages. The question is if she was groomed or not. Right? This person said, after reading through all the messages, I don't really feel like he's a creep. It seems like the girl will push the combo in a sexual direction, but Chugga would ignore the advances to change the topic, even acknowledging that the dynamic is bad. His yay creeping comment is definitely also sarcasm. A lot of the messages just seem bad 2010 jokes and references. 99% of the logs are boring and PG roleplay. It doesn't seem like nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. It's just an awkward convo. 4-year age gap. Oh, so I guess I got the age gap wrong. Not in this video. I got it right here, but I guess I misremembered. So he was 19 and she was 15. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, if he was fucking sexting her, I would say that's pretty gross, but it seems like that wasn't necessarily the case. But we'll see. We'll see.
Next, roleplay. This was the sticking point for many people, since Emily did not show how she responded to the original message asking if she was comfortable with the subject of shoes and feet. These onlookers argued that
I think it's obvious why she left that out.
She was purposely leaving out valuable context in order to strengthen her case. They claimed
the thing is, if they were 15 and if she was 14, he was 19, and they were sexting, or if she was 15, he was 19, they were sexting. That's obviously fucking gross. I don't remember any sexting. I remember a lot of weird, really weird jokes. And the question is, like, what were his intentions with those jokes? Was it to fuck her, or was he just making edgy jokes everywhere and he was really dumb? That's kind of the question. I mean, he still shouldn't have done that, obviously, but the question is if he's a pedophile or not. And I think I remember not thinking he was a pedophile. There was no grooming. It was mainly the girl implicating as such, and she was the one making the majority of the edgy jokes. Okay, gotcha.
This threw a wrench into her.
He called her his pedo crush. I gotta watch my old video about this shit. Hold on. I need to like actually go through the chat logs to remember all this shit. Probably this is the follow-up one. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today proud to announce that we are officially about to enjoy one of the first PDF file dramas of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, clap. Clap. I know it's not even the end of January. All right. This is the allegation one. This is where I talk about the messages. Here we go. 19, that's pretty, but if we can't prove her age at any point in time, like, how are we supposed to believe it, you know? I'm curious if he's going to respond to this at all, or if he's just going to go fuck off. I think the only real update I've seen from dude they've been seeing in this. Oh, I was so excited my AIM and I talked to my hero and on Worcester Loeb on Twitter says, Chugga Conroy, I'm sharing the story of a close friend of mine to allow her to maintain anonymity. She feels it's relevant to share given the dynamic started when she was 15 years old and he was 19. You can read her whole statement and chat logs here. And here we have the entire Google document. Hey, Lolly here. Lolly. I don't know how to say that other than to pronounce it the bad way. I'm nervous speaking out about any of this, so please bear with me. I wish to remain anonymous as I'm not a public figure. I'm just a person trying to do the right thing, and please ask that you respect my privacy. I've known Chugga Conroy since late 2009, and we started speaking as friends as early as 2015. 2010. We started talking because of a cringe video I made doing voice lines for Gygas. I was so excited to meet and talk to my heroes. At the time, I didn't have many friends, so it felt extra special to have someone as important as him showing interest in speaking to me. At the time, Chugga used AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, and I had a potato PC that couldn't run it, so I used this.
Man,
this is so long ago, AIM. The thing is, there's a few arguments people are making that are kind of dumb about this. One argument is like, well, why didn't she come about this back in the day? And it's like, well, sometimes sometimes victims genuinely don't recognize that they were groomed until after the fact, even if they think something wrong happened. They won't recognize it as that. So that's not an excuse. That's not a good argument. Not saying that necessarily applies here. I'm just talking about that argument in a vacuum. Okay, so that's one argument. But then the other argument is like, well, he made really gross jokes. And it's like, okay, well, that could be weird, but is it like career ending? Is it life ruining? It depends on the context. It depends on what happened here, right? Obviously, if you're making jokes like that, you should never, ever be making jokes when you're 19 to a 15-year-old about them being your pedo crush, if he did that. And we'll see that in the video. But the real question is what he did like unforgivable forever? And I guess we're gonna find out. Thing called Meebo, which let me use AIM in a browser to speak with him. I saved the logs and a message to myself because of how precious they were to me at the time. I haven't used the site in years, but the recent allegations against Chugga made me really start to think and question our friendship. I dug up everything and started to read through all the old messages between us, and it's bad. Beyond the 2010 era cringe, he said things to me while I was underage that are not okay. It never occurred to me when I was younger how bad the situation was. At the time, I was so excited my hero was talking to me and showing interest in me. For years, I was friends with him and never really thought about how bad the situation actually was. I'm still coming to terms with it, and to be honest, I'm not really sure how I should feel. All right, well, we can kind of skip the context here. I think the most important thing is the DMs, basically, right? Here we have the DMs. She says, huh? He says, someone don't understand Southern talk. Is this an old person thing? You son of a, daughter of a, he, 8D. I am the daughter of the game. You, the game is my dad, and Rick Roll is my mom. These DMs are so fucking cringe, bro. The 2010s was such a cringe time online. The humor was horrible. Make me take your shoes off. Whoa, wait, it probably is him. The shoe thing, bro. Why does he like shoes so much, dude? Why is this guy like stinky cloppers so much? Mr. Foot. My goat, Mr. Foot. This guy's got something going on. Wait, he literally immediately gets into shoes. Well, I'll tell my dad, then my mom. They won't be able to listen to you because you'll be shorter than them. And short people lie. I'm not short. You're short. 6'2", small fry. 5'3". Oh God, don't headrest me. -5 feet tall, doesn't that mean you something shadow underground or something? Facepalm, I use those things for actions because I'm an epic nerd. I'm only 5'3". If I was a shadow, I'd totally lurk you and make you something bad places. Nah, I won't headrest you. I'd rather foot rest you. Oh my God, bro. Why with the feet, dude? There's no fucking reason for that. Okay. We'll just keep going here, I guess. I think part of the problem here, as far as verifying if these allegations are real, is going to be figuring out what... Yeah, I remember at the time part of it was the person accusing him was anonymous, so we didn't even know who the fuck they were, you know? That I reply to their messages at all. It's only to be expected, no? Well, I read every message that's ever sent to me, read every reply I get on Twitter, and read every comment I get on Facebook. And I make sure to reply to the less stupid ones. Poof, XD, that makes me feel somewhat better about myself. But heck, that's got to be a lot of people. Oh, well, that's nice if you feel better. And yeah, lately my mail's slowed down to about 110 messages per day. Used to be about 250 per day when I was doing Pokemon and Mario. These are the DMs. Haha, sure. I have a Dragon Roost Island remix in there that's over 200 times also. I write my songs apparently, so yeah. I'm going to you. Sorry, cat guy quotes. Would it really be now? Was unwilling. Sorry, me being a retard. Yeah, this was the part that I thought was pretty crazy. I remember these DMs were like, what the fuck's going on? It kind of read to me almost as like flirting. Because she's like, is unwilling, and then, sorry, me being a retard. He said, haha, it's cool. Not as bad as 12 to 14-year-old girls who write to me telling me they're massive crushes on me, which is hilarious because they don't even know what I look like. The Mac and Moz show for 10 says, I feel like people who use the My Hero line a lot instead of acknowledging they don't really know them. Do you feel like it's used to add gravity to the story? Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I mean... The thing is, she totally could have seen Chugga Conroy as her hero or whatever. Like, that's totally possible. But, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that people put that in there to make it seem like, you know, to kind of hype up the story and be like, oh, he was my hero, and what he did to me is so made so much more horrible because I was a viewer of him, right? Jonathan Reyes says, hey, 5 days ago you said in a video it was dumb. Someone could be born naturally funny. I'd actually just learned my psychology a week ago. There's a gene that's inherited but also learned. Well, that's very interesting. Flirting with a minor is brazy. Yeah, it is. I mean, these are the DMs that I think my conclusion was like, he may not be a pedophile, but you shouldn't have fucking said anything like that. Enough about me and my EP, and I see you're one of the endangered species that is the mother. I'm going to rape you. That's pretty bad, bro. How old do you think I am? 18. I'm flattered, really. I'm only 15, turning 16 this year. Oh, Jesus. I want to see that crush DM that somebody said is real. Here we go. Of the term lolly. Nicer ring to it than pedo crush. Lolly's prepubescent though. Bruh. Conroy, what are you doing there, big guy? Oh my god. He called her a lolly. Please tell me you don't know the actual meaning of lolly. And nah, lolly has a much nicer ring to it than pedo crush. Lolly's prepubescent though. Oh my god, bro. So it looks like this is him commenting on her YouTube video. E makes guy guess like 10 times creepier to have a small girl's voice, which is why I love it so much, and admittedly yelled, whoa, at the end. Is he 18? He was not 18. He was, I guess, 19 at the time. I want to read his fucking response, bro. That's what I want to read his response. We got to finish the context of the situation, but I want to read his response.
Entire arguments, since the only reason they could
didn't know before saying the stuff. It seems that way. It seems. I mean, he probably should have checked her age, but people back then weren't nearly as like aware of the fact that allegations come out and there can be like problems with creators talking to fans sometimes. So people weren't as keen on checking age back then. They didn't really care about it.
Think of why she wouldn't post her reply was because she told him that the topic didn't bother her, thus severely harming her accusation of sexual harassment. Put simply, they believed if she had just told him to stop, he would have stopped.
And I think that's true. I think Lady Emily, her complaint seemed pretty silly looking back. And after these allegations, Chugga was admitted to a mental hospital. It got pretty dark for him, bro.
It didn't take long for Chugga to respond, posting 2 tweets later that same day, apologizing to Emily and promising to release a more fleshed out statement in the next few days once he had gotten a chance to compose his thoughts. It didn't help that this had happened directly before MagFest, a gaming convention historically attended by the old school Let's Play community. The Runaway guys announced that they would be one man short during their annual panel, Throne Controllers. While they didn't specify which man would be missing, it wasn't hard for viewers to guess. For her part, Emily soon posted claiming that while she did hope Chugga could learn and grow from this experience, she did not accept his apology. Specifically, she took issue with the fact that he seemed to be framing it as an isolated incident when she had allegedly been contacted by multiple other women who had very similar stories about him. As the days went on and more people began scrutinizing Emily's story, she decided to post even more screenshots in order to clear up the confusion. While she claimed that this was to better visualize how persistent he was with his pursuit of feet talk, her detractors claimed the opposite to be true. Recall the message from earlier in which Chugga explained his interest in feet to Emily. Well, these screenshots finally showed her direct response. She said, quote, "Good to have that openness and common understanding."
Yeah, this is the thing. She was totally fine with it at the time, and she says she didn't know it was a sexual thing. But how could you not know when he's sending shoes to your house and trying to like clearly initiate roleplay? How could you not know that it was clearly a thing he was kind of into, right? Like how could you not know? How could you not know? It doesn't make any sense to me, dude. It doesn't make any sense.
In addition, there were other examples from these screenshots of Chugga asking if she was comfortable with the topic of conversation, and she confirmed she was each and every time. Emily tried to explain this away by claiming that she subtly hinted that she was not interested multiple times.
But you can't subtly hint. You just have to come out and say it. Like, you just have to say, I'm not comfortable with this. If you engage in behavior with someone, you communicate to them that you're okay with it, okay? You communicate to them that it's good, that you would like it, and then instead of just telling them outright, like, I don't like this, instead you're saying, like, well, I subtly hinted at it. Like, that's not enough. Just be fucking clear. Why can't you just be clear with what you want and what you don't want? You would avoid all these situations.
But due to her anxiety and depression,
you would avoid all of these problems.
Difficult for her to tell him.
Due to your anxiety and depression, I don't care if you're depressed. Just say no. When has that ever been an excuse for anything? Why are people blaming their decision-making on their mental health problems, dude? You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Imagine if the person in the opposite situation, imagine if somebody who like groomed someone was like, well, my depression made me do it. I was in a dark place. People would be like, you're fucking retarded, dude. You're guilty. Go to jail, right? Why the fuck did anyone, why do other people manage to get away with this? I don't understand. I thought he was just interested in making shoes. Yeah, shut up. Not true, dude. I don't think Lady Emily's a victim. I just don't think so. We'll see about the other person, though.
Directly to stop. Supporters of Chugga Conroy took issue with this too. Clearly, he fell somewhere in the autism spectrum and
yeah,
struggled with a lack of understanding of social cues.
The fucking autism logo. Is this a gay autism logo? Why is it like a rainbow? Is that what is the normal autism? Is that the normal autism logo? Oh, it is the normal. I thought it was like gayism or gay autism, homo autism. I didn't realize that was real. What the hell? I'm a fucking idiot.
If mental health was her reasoning for not directly shutting...
Is this Emily girl 15? No. Emily was an adult. The other girl is 15. Emily was a complete adult. There's two different accusers. Emily was a legal adult, like in her 20s, I think, when they were sexting. Or not sexting, sorry. When they were talking about feet stuff. And this other girl, who, once again, there was no sexting for either of them, really. This other girl, she was 15 turning 16, I guess, when he was 19. So, yeah.
Shutting down the foot talk, why could she not extend...
But to be clear, there was no like explicit sexting. It wasn't like clear like everybody's engaging in roleplay or anything. It was like really weird DMs and jokes, basically. But at no point was it like, I'm jerking off right now, I'm gonna come. There were no pictures sent.
The same benefit of the doubt. As time went on, a public perception toward Emily began to dip somewhat. Even if people thought what Chugga did was creepy.
Yo, there he is. I'm so confused about this leak. Why even do this? This guy seems autistic and creepy, maybe, but I don't see any responses from her telling him to stop, and it seems like she gladly accepted the gifts. Why even leak this? True. Great question,
They believed his actions did not warrant a public shaming on this level, and certainly didn't reach the heights of sexual harassment. That being said, people did begin digging into Chugga's past, and found some eerie coincidences. Most notably, in an old deleted video from his channel titled 50 Facts About Chugga Conroy, the Let's Player told a story about being falsely accused of sexual harassment in school.
I only ever had detention one time in my life, and it was for something I didn't do. A girl who hated me falsely claimed that I sexually harassed her in 6th grade, and at the time I didn't even know what the term sexually harassed meant.
Finally, on January 22nd...
is that really an indictment of him? He said he was falsely accused, and it was in the 6th fucking grade. It was in the 6th grade. What do you really... Like, is that evidence of fucking anything? That doesn't prove anything. It's a 10-year-old video where he said he was falsely accused in the 6th grade when he was 11 years old. That means nothing.
Statement on Facebook. He once again apologized to Emily and expressed his regret that he had ever made her uncomfortable in any way. He also took the time to apologize to anyone who may have been put off by his interest in feet. This statement also reiterated several things that had previously been mentioned in the callouts, namely that his girlfriend was aware of what was happening and was supportive of it, and that shoes were an interest of his that were not necessarily sexual. He also included one detail that Emily seemingly neglected to mention, namely that she actively reached out to him in private earlier in order to express her feelings, and they had talked it out to the point that he had decided to attend therapy.
Oh my god, dude, this girl is fucking trash, dude. This girl is trash. She literally just did it for Twitter clout. This girl literally did it for Twitter clout. Oh, look, since the 6th grade, we call that a pattern of behavior. Yeah. Dude, this... So they resolved it privately. There was nothing wrong. And then she decided to expose him publicly. And you can actually tell her intentions publicly because she's like, it pisses me off when people say this guy's so wholesome when I know the real him. Like, she literally just hated the fact that he was popular and people liked him, right? This Emily girl is scum.
In order to better himself, this was a smoking gun for his defenders, who saw it as unequivocal proof that Emily had lied by omission. Even people who supported her largely viewed this as a decent apology. While it seemed to many that this would be the end of the story, things weren't quite finished just yet. The next day, another Let's Player by the name of Mustsaay on Ella posted their own tweet thread going over her thoughts about Chugga Conroy. She and Chugga had been very close collaborators several years ago, with them even living together as roommates for a period of time. They were so close, in fact, that many people in their fan base liked to ship them together. According to her, he had pushed boundaries in the relationship many times in the past, and had sent her several apologies that she believed rang hollow. While Mustsaay did not specify what exactly he had done,
what does that mean?
She had apparently cut ties with him several years prior, and was
what did he actually do is the question, I guess.
Finally ready to publicly tell her audience to stop associating them together. Even though Mustsaay did not state what exactly had happened between the two of them,
I always hate the vague allegation shit, like making an allegation and then not actually going into detail. Like, for somebody on the outside, how are they supposed to just trust you off that? Like, if you genuinely think this guy's like a danger to society, or he's a bad person, or nobody should associate with him, why wouldn't you specify on what actually happened? Why wouldn't you?
Internet sleuths did begin digging in order to see what they could uncover. By searching through old videos, they found multiple examples of Chugga Conroy making inappropriate statements that appeared to make her uneasy.
My rage is making me heated. I should take off my jacket. No, Emil!
I'm sorry.
No! Do not!
I am
Do not!
so sorry.
He said, He said,
Do not want!
Beyond this, some people decided to take their theorizing a bit deeper. You see,
I guess that clip was a little weird, but I don't know. It's not the worst thing. That looks like a square pizza, a burnt square pizza. The sweetest pizza I did ever eat.
As though her final public interaction with Chugga had occurred in July of 2021. Around the same time, she started getting close with another streamer named Brett Ultimus. By October, the two were dating. For years afterward, though, people continued believing that she and Chugga Conroy were a couple. Brett himself had expressed his disapproval with the public perception. While nothing is confirmed, some people speculate that as things got more serious with Brett, Mustsaay became more and more annoyed with how people speculated about her relationship with Chugga.
I mean, that would kind of make sense. I guess it's just a game theory, but that would kind of make sense. I mean, obviously, if you're in a relationship with someone and then this other dude is like making weird kind of sexual comments, like, I should take my jacket off. Like that kind of thing. Like, you should probably express to him you don't like it, but I think she's clearly saying he did push boundaries and she did express to him. But once again, the problem is the lack of proof. I want to see the proof, you know?
And perhaps became upset with him for allowing it to continue without saying anything. Again, this is entirely speculation, but it's a theory that has been thrown around regardless. Following Mustsaay's thread being posted, a couple other women stepped forward to echo her statement. Well, none
I also had multiple uncomfortable experiences with him and would be encouraged to enact in foot fetish roleplay when we spoke. I support these women, and I'm sad, and this happened to so many. I guess the thing I don't understand is, like, one, why didn't they post the screenshots? Two, if they were uncomfortable, did they communicate it to him? Did they communicate to him they were uncomfortable, or did they, like Lady Emily, engage in it and then later resolve it with him when they said they were uncomfortable, and then after that decide to expose him for clout? Like, that's kind of the question for me. All these girls, I'm not saying they're doing anything bad. They could have legitimate grievances. They totally could. I just would like to have proof around it. You know, I don't want to jump to a conclusion without proof. But if there's so many people saying the same thing, you can kind of deduce that something was going on. I guess he was making people feel uncomfortable. He seems like kind of an autist. I'm so depressed. I'm sending you money, Tom. Thank you very much, CIA. Matthew Judge. I appreciate that, bro. Brandon says, Turkey Tom tried to force himself upon me when I was 18. I did.
None of them provided
successfully
any evidence. They all told similarly vague stories of how Chugga made them uncomfortable in the past, and wanted nothing to do with him anymore. Emily herself even came forward to offer her final thoughts on the matter. She mainly reiterated her statement from earlier, saying that she did not accept Chugga's apology, but that she genuinely hoped that he intended to better himself. She did throw in one last previously unmentioned detail at the end. According to her, Chugga's claim that they had hashed out their differences in private was false. As she told the story, she had to go through one of their mutual friends in order to get him to stop messaging her after he had allegedly spread her personal information and made her feel unsafe. While her supporters viewed this as
I guess the question to me is, does she have any proof of that? Does she have DMs of that he did that? If she has proof of all this other stuff, why wouldn't she post that, you know? I don't really know.
As definitive proof that Chugga was no longer to be trusted, her detractors continued to poke holes in the story. Up to this point, Emily had been the accuser who was most forthcoming with evidence against Chugga Conroy. Yet this claim was accompanied by 0 screenshots. If he had truly been spreading her personal information to people...
Why wouldn't he post it? Great question, Gamer from Mars. Why wouldn't he post it?
Why was this not included in her initial call-out? As the fallout of the situation continued, the webmaster of the Runaway Guys website announced that they would be temporarily going offline following a mutual discussion
Yeah, I probably thought he was bad press.
with Proton John. As it stands now, Emily has claimed that she is done talking about Chugga Conroy, and his other accusers have stated that they do not want anything to do with the situation. As for his fellow Runaway Guys members, both have issued brief statements on the matter. Proton John kept things simple, claiming that he was still sorting through his emotions.
Just found you by Meowba video, Discord, _Gato. I don't know what that means. Are you trying to... Why are you posting your Discord? Are you trying to talk to me? Do you think I'm going to play Fortnite with you? What's the deal with that?
And would need more time before he was ready to speak out fully. Nintendo Capri's son, on the other hand, posted a thread stating that, while he did not approve of what Chugga did, he would stand by him as a friend and see that he got the help that he needed. He also mentioned that the future of the Runaway Guys is currently in limbo. Before the dust could have a
I don't even want to defend Chugga Conroy as a thing. I just want evidence for everything. I want evidence for all these claims.
Before the dust could have a chance to
by these other girls, I want proof, you know? Because I don't know any of these people. I need to have proof, you know?
settle, though, one more bombshell would still drop. On January 25th, a Twitter user by the name of Worcester posted a tweet on behalf of
these are the DMs I was
an individual who identified herself only as Lolly. She claimed that she had been in contact with Chugga Conroy back in 2010, when he was 19 and she was 15 going on 16.
19 and 15. That's the ages. With them, 19 and 15. With Lady Emily, they were both adults. With these, he was an adult, albeit barely. She was 15. The question is what he did grooming? Was he being super out of line? He definitely seems weird. The question is, was he grooming her?
She provided screenshots to back up these allegations, as well as a lengthy Google Doc going into further detail and providing their complete chat logs together. The screenshots show proof that Chugga was aware of Lolly's age and they were engaging in fetish roleplay. The words rape.
It was fetish roleplay. Did she realize it was fetish roleplay? Oh, yeah. No, it kind of is fetish roleplay. Notices a bulge in your boot. Hey, wait. Pushes you down and snatches off your boots. You wear my sneakers inside your boots. You're cheating. Blows a whistle. Yeah, this is kind of fetish roleplay. You sure love being, but that means it's willing, and willing is sex. And now it's, bruh. My feet are cold. Can I have my shoes back? Yeah, this does seem like roleplay. I don't know how you can explain this. This seems weird.
And pedo had been thrown around frequently in their conversations. However, jokingly,
maybe there's something I'm missing. We'll see his response in a sec.
Tone may have been.
How proven is the lolly stuff? I feel like the persistent DMs pale in comparison detract from that if it's real. Why focus on them, you know?
As if this weren't bad enough, Lolly also...
I mean, the DMs are real, we know that.
...included images showing that she and Chugga had remained in contact and were still engaging in consensual roleplay scenarios as late as November of 2022. Many, including Emily, jumped on this by giving their deepest sympathy for what this person had to go through. While others, including Destiny...
Oh my god, why the fuck are people so dramatic? This is horrifying that your friend traded awkward and cringe sexual DMs with a 19-year-old and she was 15. Oh my god, the humanity. These people have no problems in their lives. I mean, they don't have problems in their lives, but I think if you're 19, you shouldn't be sexting a 15-year-old. I would say you shouldn't be doing that.
Mocked a response.
I would say that's pretty gross, bro.
Since these were cringe comments between two teenagers well over a decade ago. As for what Chugga is up to while this downward spiral is occurring, well, according to his friends, he's heavily medicated and doesn't have full access to the outside world. As of writing, it appears he's lost 30,000 subscribers.
Yeah, okay, so we've seen that. He made a big response here. He made a giant response. So I want to see this. They got a bunch of likes. Seems like people are kind of supporting him. So I'm curious to see what he said here. Okay. She left some out. Well, I guess we'll see that here. Chugga Conroy's response. Hey, everybody. It's been a long time since I shared anything with you, but now I feel ready to give an update on how I've been doing and clear up speculation on some incidents that have been brought up since my last message. Whenever something blows up online, people make a lot of incorrect assumptions based on not knowing the full story and often assume the worst possible context. I would like to start by clearing up these misconceptions. I haven't wanted to reveal information about others, but I think at this point it's best that everything's out in the open. I've removed irrelevant personal information as I only want to say as much as I need to in order to set the record straight. Please do not bother anybody I name here. I do not want others to experience what I went through. I have already asked that people do not harass my accusers, and it is disappointing to see this ignored and not respected. I truly don't want anybody to be attacked over this. Regarding Mustsaay. Wait. Hold on. What? Is Mustsaay that? Is Mustsaay the person that said they didn't like him? Mustsaay is the person that said he made her feel uncomfortable or whatever, right? With like the clips. Yeah, this is Mustsaay. This is Mustsaay, right? I have not associated with Emil for years, nor are we friends. Mustsaay and I dated for 10 years and we were engaged to be married. Did she say that publicly? Did she ever say that? Can he prove this or something? What the fuck's going on here? He said they were engaged to be married. Did she respond to that? What the fuck? Hold on. What the freaking poop? Wendigoon looking very cute as always. So they did respond. I guess we'll read his thing first. It fell apart about 3 years ago. In every video of seeing us together, I was her boyfriend and our friends all knew about it. You're probably wondering why this stayed a secret for so long. We wanted our private lives to be hidden at the beginning. After the engagement, I wanted to share it, but Mustsaay stayed firm that it remained private. She was never clear to me as to why, but I respected her wishes until it was necessary to clear this up. We loved each other, and I thought the world of her, but we had a difficult breakup. Losing her was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, and I regret how emotional I got about it and the way I handled it. That's what happened between us. We would both like to never hear about one another again, and I sympathize with her getting bombarded about my situation after a breakup. The feelings she expressed go both ways, and I don't wish to be associated with her going forward in any capacity either. As for her video cameo after the breakup, I did that because I believe we were still friends and just taking a break from each other. But once she told me she didn't want them, I stopped. I have strong feelings about the way it was said, but I'm asking you nicely to not run away with speculation about her because I know what that feels like. And if you felt bad for enjoying her old videos, don't. I still look back at them fondly and personally assure you we were happy and having fun in them. The time for that is over. Okay, so with that in mind, the context around that clip of her being like, I want to take off my jacket, and him being like, her being like, stop, is actually not sexual harassment or anything weird. They were dating, right? Seemingly. They were engaged. They were literally engaged. What the fuck? They were engaged. That's crazy. In 2023, Emily contacted me through a friend who spelled out how our conversations made her feel. I was shocked by it, apologized to her and to some friends I had said and done similar things with. It was well received among the people I talked to, and like to say here that I'm sorry to anyone who hasn't heard this from me. I'd hoped to tell you on my own terms. This was genuinely the first time this behavior was met so negatively to my face. At the time, I was told this would not go public as long as I never did it again, which I have not done since. I took it to heart and sought professional help immediately. I felt like shit for months and was seeing a therapist about it every week. And by the start of January, I felt like I was making some great strides in improving. I took Emily's words seriously and was doing my best to take responsibility, but unfortunately, it all ended up going public anyway. It crushed me inside that despite my efforts, Emily and many others would see me as irredeemable. I wanted to dispel a few things said about me by Emily. I didn't ask her for foot pictures constantly. I asked once if I could see a picture of her wearing the shoes I bought for her, which I honestly didn't realize would make her uncomfortable. I've gone through our logs and could find no evidence of that claim that I was constantly asking or that it was of her bare feet. I don't think this is a fair summary of our chats. My kink doesn't define every aspect of my life. I bought Emily's shoes because she told me hers were damaged and needed replacing, then told me it was almost her birthday half an hour later. It was a spur of the moment and I just wanted to help out a friend. I've also made jokes about feet and bought shoes for most of my friends throughout my life, even for people like Tim. Nice sneakers. Well, thank you. I need new ones. My everyday pair. Yeah, we saw this DM. This is when he got her shoes, right? The break here is just talking about my video. Do you got any goings on other than having holes in your shoes? Not much. Just got back from Vancouver, visited blank and stayed with them. That was a wonderful time. Besides that, it's just been settling back in, playing Zelda, and trying to figure out what my month is going to look like planning-wise. How wonderful that is. I hope you're having a fantastic Pride Month too. He's guilty. I hope you're having a fantastic Pride Month too. You deserve so much. Thank you. It's my birth month too, so hopefully it's a good one. Oh shoot, when's your birthday? June 19th. Wow, another civil rights day. Bruh. So, like, do you have a P.O. box? Not at the moment, no. Oh, well, I was going to see if I could partake in birthday niceness. Oh, well, that's very kind of you. You can just have my address if you want. Oh, wow, didn't expect that, so we're on address basis. Well, I trust you. You're a friend. Thanks, I've thought of you as a fast friend, too. I'm happy to hear that. Oh, have you been playing Zelda? Regarding Lady Emily, more screenshots. Of course, I have about 80 shrines. Oh, wow. I didn't know how many I have. Lol, I have enough for full stamina bar and 11 hearts. You can see it on the loading screen. According to this, I've done 54. Good work. If I may be so bold. Sneaker size? Ooh, generally around women's 10, give or take a little, but that's usually what works most often. Nice. Yeah. She would encourage my roleplay and jokes about shoes and even consented and participated. What's your star sign? I guess I'm a Leo. I checked in multiple times to make sure it was really okay and trusted her with a sensitive part of myself so that she wouldn't feel misled or like I had ulterior motives. I think that's also why I didn't particularly try to hide this. I thought I was being dumb with consenting friends, and at worst, it was a little embarrassing, and my kink was probably one reason I liked the subject. My partner read through what Emily posted and thought the tone was silly and not over the line of what's sexual or romantic for me. I trust her opinion on that more than my own. I was also evaluated by medical professionals about my shoe talk. Their review was that it was a way to feel close to a friend and an escape in times of high stress and tragedy. It would resurface whenever things got particularly bad. Yeah, YouTube doesn't give sick days. Hope you don't mind all the foot jokes. I guess I just latched onto that after you told me about it. I'm not sure if it's a sensitive subject for you or anything. Nah, it's fine. I don't mind. Oh, okay. I thought about it more and I was like, ooh, I hope she doesn't have a negative association with that or something. Nah, it's all good. I hope your day has been good. And this is the DM where they talked about openness and common understanding, and it seemed clear that between them, she didn't have a fucking issue with it at all. Yeah, being forward with you because I'd rather not keep anything from you and let you make the best decision for you. I aim into that, but only with my significant other. I just like talking about shoes with people because it's my interest. I talked with so many about this when we started dating, and she told me I can talk about shoes with other people because it isn't sexual with my friends. It's just something I enjoy talking about with my friends too. I know that might be a lot to share, and I'm sorry if it is, but I feel like it's best to just be open with people and consider what I'd like to know if I was in their position. No, I'm glad to know. Good to have openness and common understanding. Thank you. That's very kind of you to see it that way. I'm always about communication, even if it's about complicated stuff. Because why would you not tell your friends important things if you want to keep them in your life? A lot of people are not so kind about this sort of thing going on the internet. Haha, sorry to ping you again. I just won't be up too much longer and want to finish talking. The next day, here's what an uncut talk between us looked like as it transitioned into roleplay. Oh, PS2 is a console I remember first really getting into. I feel like I missed a lot of Wii games, TBH. I didn't really get into actually having a Wii. I mean, I kind of had a wee, but not really. Surprising. I felt like everyone had one, usually alongside one of the other two. So, like, I feel for you. I really do. But if you're still coughing and sick, what do you need shoes for? I mean, yeah, if you want them, go for it. Damn, that was easy. I mean, I'm sick. Far be it for me to put up a fight. Is this a trick? Why would I trick you? Here are the shoes. They're normal shoes. No. Here you go. So the conversations between them seem very consenting. Here, I'll even give you another pair too. You. So continue DMs. You can use these later on for potential boss fights or enemy encounters. Oh, fuck off. I see you're just putting them back on like nothing happened after tormenting me. You weren't going to give them up. I'm never going to give them up. You're asking for it. You're even showing me up at my own shtick. I'm warning you. Do your worst. Okay, fine. Goes over and gives you a hug. Man, I will say the way this guy types is so fucking cringe. He's a sneakerhead. Yeah, he is actually a sneakerhead. That's real. I didn't expect this tactic. Feels nice. Hugs you tighter, but not uncomfortably. Yeah, but also, dang, you got me. Yep, I got you. Hugs tighter, now a little uncomfortable. I'm going to teach you a lesson. Sweeps your leg out from under you and lets go of you as I do. You fall to the floor. I grab into each of your shoes and yank them off, leaving you barefoot. I stand back across the room from you. Ow, gross. Does it hurt knowing what they really look like? No, you can't do this to me. Oh, silly girl. I'm not done. You won't be getting these back before your doctor's appointment. Enjoy explaining those feet to the doctor who will undoubtedly be wanting to study them. I turn and run out the front door holding shoes. Eat. Bad. You can't seem like this in public. You need something to hide your feet with. But I took the only 2 pairs of shoes or socks. No, I will wrap them with a blanket, cocoon myself. I run outside after me like that? I can hope. I mean, it seems to me that realistically, she was totally fine at the time. I mean, these are weird DMs, but she was fine with it at the time. Lady Emily was a legal adult. We'll get into the other girl in a second, but her allegation seems pretty overblown, pretty dumb. It doesn't seem like he sexually harassed her in any way, in my opinion. Percocet Tom, the type of guy to read an entire feat roleplay loud in front of 1,500 viewers. True. I mean, that's my swag, right? That's just my fucking swag these days, isn't it? This is the tone of the conversation that led to the roleplay. I think, honestly, that it reads as pretty silly from both of us. I remember when this happened, I was just playing a video game and laughing to myself when she'd add to it because it was so out there and dumb. I cackled at her sticker star. I mean, it seems, he's saying it's not sexual. I feel like if you're a foot fetishist, it's inherently a little sexual for you, but I don't know. My girlfriend wanted to add that Emily's decision to include personal information about her was greatly upsetting. Emily needlessly published the territory my girlfriend lives in. This was not public knowledge and did nothing to prove any point. In Emily's screenshots, I'm open about having a girlfriend and told her so was fine with all of this. I'm open about having a girlfriend and told her my significant other was fine with this. Our relationship had no bearing on any of this and never needed to be brought up. I also want to say that I never lied about how this was resolved privately. In my original statement, I said when you communicated this to me privately a few months ago, I apologized to you directly and promised I would never repeat this kind of behavior again with anyone else. I worded things that way to protect the friend who mediated, as involving others was something I wanted to avoid. I promised my friend I would never repeat this. We discussed it for hours. They told Emily how it went, and then I sent Emily this apology. Name a friend who Emily reached out to. Talk to me about this. I apologize for everything I did. I will not reach out again. I'm sorry. I never claimed we had a conversation about it. I said this was communicated privately, which it was. I don't think a friend being there contradicts that. I don't retract any apology about hurting her or pestering her for a reply. Nothing I've said changes that I did that. I just felt this important context was left out. This is what I was working with and why I was so comfortable doing this. I kept asking if it was okay and kept doing it because she said she enjoyed it. I wanted to be open with someone I cared about rather than just assume, and gave her my word that I wouldn't go into any sexual territory for myself. It still wasn't a good way to act. I just hope it's understandable how I could think. I think it is understandable, and I think that in regards to Lady Emily, it seems like he didn't do anything that bad. Not even anything that bad. It seems like nothing bad happened with Lady Emily, and she just got mad after the fact for some fucking reason. We'll get into the other girl, though. That could be a different story. We'll see. Due to an autism spectrum disability, I struggle with understanding social cues or people's limits. I don't hide behind this as a shield from criticism. I've learned to live with it. I learned I couldn't always trust myself to say the right thing or not to take things too far due to my inability to see social situations the same way as other people. Doctors have told me this is what happens with me. To make up for this weakness, I learned many years ago to be open with people, relying on permission, asking questions, and requesting others to tell me if something becomes too much. This is what I did with Emily, but despite that, she never once communicated that I said anything that made her uncomfortable until she considered going public. I mean, that seemed fair. I'm interested to see what his response is to the 15-year-old stuff. Me too. I was confused when she started ignoring my messages. I don't do well with being ignored. It just makes me worry a lot about what the other person thinks because I do my best with open communication. When I have nothing to work with, I can't really understand what someone is thinking. And in this case, I thought she liked how it was going. It usually leads to me just wishing each day will be the day I get to hear they're okay. I've learned now that repeated messages like this can be stressful to others. I did everything she wanted me to do once she told me she didn't like it and took it into my own hands to get mental help and learn more about my issues. It's perfectly fine to revoke consent or decide it's getting to be too much, but this wasn't told to me. I was told the opposite of that. This isn't a case of I only listened when I got caught. I did listen. So now we're getting into the lolly stuff. Gotta drink a sip of water for this. Okay, chat, what's your opinion on this? With the allegation we've gone over so far, which is the Lady Emily stuff, it seems to me that Lady Emily's not a victim. It seems that way to me. I don't know. Has she posted any response to any of this? It seems to me that she's just not a victim. So this was posted on April 16th. It doesn't look like she said anything about it. It doesn't look like she said literally anything about it. Maybe she said it somewhere else, not on Twitter, but I can't seem to find a response, basically. Both are degenerates. Well, yeah, but the question is if he overstepped any boundaries, and it seems like he fucking didn't. Hey, Caffeine, I can see you talking about stuff you want to be talked about on my channel. I'm not going to leak anything for you. Make a fucking video, make a Twitter thread, talk about it, get some attention, and then I'll talk about it. I am not going to be leaking stuff for you. You need to do that on your own. Like, somebody messaged me recently saying, like, oh, I want to talk about a situation and leak DMs about something and, like, talk about someone. And I was like, okay, leak it somewhere else and I'll look at it. I'm not going to be your fucking guy to leak stuff for you. It's not going to happen. Talk about it publicly in your own venue, and then I will cover it on my stream, okay? I'm not going to leak information for you. I'm not getting involved in your story. I'm going to comment on it publicly. Sorry. Okay. Regarding Lolly. There was a chat log shared back from 2010 when I was 19. About this, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not a groomer. I was an idiot teenager who made dirty jokes. I had no intention of doing anything to this person. Quite the opposite, in fact. The post is taking two separate things over a decade apart and showing them together. When I was a teenager, I said a lot of dumb things I shouldn't have. I'm 34 years old now and can't stand by anything I may have typed out that long ago. I don't think anyone could. What I can do is tell you my intentions. Okay? To give you an idea of how long ago that chat log was, when I was 19, TRG didn't exist. I've never appeared at a single I'd never appeared at a single convention. I hadn't started college. I still lived at home. I made videos as a hobby and wasn't professional, and I was working on my first Pokemon Let's Play. I don't think something that old should be treated as representative of the person I am now. In any sense, it was so long ago that I learned the contents of this log existed when you did. I was extremely hurt to be judged for something that was so long ago, and that the headline was worded like I assaulted someone. The internet was a very different place then, and being facetious was everywhere. It was like our escape from censorship, and the edgier the better. It was easy to get caught up in the moment and say things I didn't mean when I was that young too. You need look no further than my terrible old videos from the tasteless things I thought were hilarious or at that age, or how my sense of humor has changed, or how internet culture as a whole has changed. It might be hard to imagine, but back then, people commonly threw around vulgar language and joked about horrible things like it was nothing. Well, that was based, and we need to go back to that. Some people were concerned about one part where I said, I'm going to you, and then said something about a video with a cat. This wasn't a serious conversation. It was a popular meme at the time, and I'm sure it was quoting this video. I remember all of my friends quoting it on a daily basis back then. It was the biggest thing ever. Okay, I could believe that. That seems like an explanation for that particular DM. The one about the pedo crush is something I'm more curious about and why he said that. I guess this is the meme video. Oh, I know this video. This video is epic.
Get the fuck down! Fucking jump! Jump! Get the fuck down from there!
True.
Fucking jump!
He has a point, but writing it all out like this makes him look needlessly defensive. I mean, if you think you're fucking... If people are accusing you of something, can't you write it all out? That seems like kind of a dumb thing. If somebody accused me of something like this, wouldn't you want to write it all out with as much detail as you can possibly put into it rather than look fucking guilty? Like, you can explain yourself.
Jump! Do it, you bitch! Do it!
All right, we get the idea behind the video. As for the pedo crush line, I don't even remember saying it. It was 14 years ago, probably a joke that was typical. Pedo bear was an enormous meme at the time, and jokes dunking on were just what internet humor was then. Lolly equals pedo was a common joke, and given her username an easy one. I definitely learned a long time ago that these sort of jokes aren't cool and could be hurtful to victims. Society moved on from that many years ago, as I have too. You can see the difference between that. You can see the difference between them. You can see the difference between then and now by just looking at anything I type. Most of the rest of the chat is just boring talk about video games we like. Even given the time, if you still felt like that chat was getting out of hand, I agree with you. In fact, I agree with that when I was 19. Lolly said she doesn't know why our chats ended abruptly. I can tell you exactly why. It was because I disliked the direction of these chats and how young she was, and I've told her this numerous times. After a few conversations, I took a step back and realized this could not continue. She would constantly initiate raunchy topics with my 19-year-old self. I was oblivious at first, thought it was funny shitposting, played off their behavior as a joke, and thought of them as a friend with a dirty sense of humor like many friends I had back then. Here we have Lolly saying, fine, now I'll possess you forever and talk to you and be all like, I see dead people. And frowny face, make you touch yourself in public. Insert evil laughter here. Chugga says, why are all the things you do to me sexual? You really do want me. You really do want me. She says, actually, yeah, she said facepalm. After a little while, things started to escalate, and they sent a sexually explicit gift to my house. It made me realize they weren't being silly. They were romantically. They didn't even say that in the initial allegations, did they? Why didn't they say that? Why didn't they fucking say that? The biggest problem is 99% of people won't read the whole thing. Very true. Pedo crush was a pretty common meme 15 years ago where nobody really meant it. Was that? I know the pedo bear meme, but was pedo crush a meme? They sent a sexually explicit gift to my house and made me realize they weren't being silly. They were romantically interested in me, not the other way around. The whole thing made me and my mother uncomfortable, and after deliberation, I not only rejected them, but cut all contact. I actually talk about this in the log they posted, and our contact becomes a lot less frequent after that. You can see after this point, we go long periods of time without talking, and I just tell her I'm busy or need to get going. I don't exactly look thrilled about this gift. Lolly says, you got it. Chugga says, was waiting for you. Well, sorry my stalker senses aren't tingling. My mom told me I'm not allowed to wear the shirt, though. I didn't speak to this person for another 10 years. I had no intention of ever reestablishing contact. 10 years later, they approached me at a convention, and that was how we became friends again. I thought after that long, she was a new person and deserved a second chance. If you need more than just my word that it was joking around and I was the one who stopped it, here's proof. This is me telling this story to them in 2021 and the reaction to it. The ages are slightly off due to the fuzzy memory, but this was the event that caused me to cut contact. Based on my past rejection of you, I don't think I have to justify that I wouldn't to you. Ha ha ha. You rejected me? Okay, I was going to save this story for when we were in a call, but I guess this is on topic. Plus, it's been weeks. Oh God, what did I do? So that shirt you sent me, my mom found that soon after I got it and asked me why the heck I had something like that. I told her my friend Lolly sent it to me. She immediately goes, this girl has a crush on you, no doubt about it. I go, oh, well, she's 14. I was 18 at the time. My mom told me I can't associate with that and it was dangerous, so I better keep my distance. As much as I like spending time with you, I chose to slowly fade out and hope you'd find someone else. That was why I fell out of your life for a few years. Oh, this makes sense. I was going to say I would have never told you I had a crush on you. I was big chicken. I knew, at least I was pretty sure of it. Once my mom said that, I sort of analyzed a lot of the things you'd said and done. It made a lot of sense after that. Well, this kind of changes everything. This kind of changes everything. I'm still curious about those conversations that seem like role play, like the conversations about like feet stuff, like this kind of thing. I mean, you could say it's kind of joking. There's joking parts of it, but it kind of seems like there's some role play going on. I mean, it seems silly, but I don't know. It seems somewhat questionable still, but I'm curious what his response is going to be to that, if he has any. But right now, I mean, it's looking like he's doing a decent job dispelling a lot of this stuff, right? It's looking like that. Do you think I was a cop or something? I mean, I was pretty sure you were you, but I didn't want to abuse or hurt you with an unfair relationship. So regardless, it was a hard no for me at the time. Honestly, as an adult, I can appreciate that you said wait, so why did they even make that allegation? Why didn't they post these DMs? If clearly after the fact they analyzed and were able to interpret the fact that he cut them off, then why the fuck did they make that allegation? As an adult, I can appreciate you set a boundary. I'm glad. I was worried you wouldn't like me anymore back then because I was intentionally snubbing you at least some of the time. It was somewhat of a relief when you were happy to see me at Con Bravo. I just figured you were busy with life and moved on. I kind of had that as a passive excuse. I was hitting the big time around then. I've always enjoyed spending time with you, but at those ages, I wasn't going to let something develop on either side. I wanted you to go find other people. You were still a kid and wouldn't have that time again. Wait, so from these DMs, it seems like he didn't do anything. Why are there so many like false allegations, dude? Why can't there be one good faith allegation that's actually fucking real? This guy kind of got slandered. Jesus. I've always enjoyed spending time with you, but at those ages, I wasn't going to let something develop on either side. I wanted you to go find other people. You were still a kid and wouldn't have that time again. Another side of this that I confided in them as a teen about the girl I liked at the time. It's not them. There's this girl who I think might like me, and I told her something like that last night. I swear to God, she got so risen up from her depression. Ha ha ha. Is she someone you know personally or just another fan? She started off as a fan. She's hopefully going to this thing in June that I'm going to be at for a few weeks. Pretty much all my friends are begging me to go for her in that time. You has an online love, A W. I guess this is like an emoticon. I really don't know if she likes me or not, but I sort of suspect she might. Most likely, yes. I mean, you're awesome. Okay. Interesting. Oh, there's a lot more of this girl. There's a lot more. Was their humor not acceptable by today's standards? Yeesh. Was their humor not acceptable by today's standards? Sure, but this was half a decade of my life ago now. I lack the experience I have now, and I think this shows I had no romantic or physical interest in them as a teen. And even back then, once I knew it wasn't a game to them, I rejected it and backed off. It upset me when I learned they wanted me. It put so many things they said into perspective and creeped me out. And I can see it when I read this log again. This was my learning experience about why even jokes like this aren't a good idea. And I've never said anything like this to a minor in the 14 years since. I specifically remember telling my mom that leaving that friendship was the most caring thing to do for this person. Speaking as someone who suffered a lot as a child, I have many ground rules involving minors and have taken these sorts of things immensely seriously ever since. I read through all of it, and to my surprise, she's the one who initiates the role play. She's the one who pretends to tickle my feet and goes much further than that too. She was the origin of it, at least in this chat. I don't know if I don't know if she's where I got the idea from, but it's possible. I guess it's neither here nor there. I didn't know I was into that at 19 anyway. Interesting. This next point is something I was unsure about publishing for months. I hate that this is relevant, and I would not be sharing this if they didn't post it anonymously. I cut contact with them thinking they had just had an innocent crush that needed to stop. It was a lot worse than that. I was disturbed to find they admitted that in these old chats, their goal was to manipulate me into having sex with them. Here are 2 separate times they told me this story, as well as the time we briefly touched on it. Oh my God. So these Discord messages are from 2021. This is after they reconnected. Even if there's no legal repercussions, sites should permanently ban users who make false accusations on their platform, especially if they're banning people for misinformation. I mean, in a perfect world, I would agree with that. The problem for that, in my opinion, the problem with that is just the fact that I don't trust platforms to interpret what's true and false. And also, the thing is, at certain points in time, right, like, things will be regarded as false allegations that aren't. So are we supposed to just trust YouTube to interpret if something is false or not? Or if it's like a justified allegation, are we supposed to trust them? Or are you supposed to wait till the final video essay comes out about these situations to finally clamp down? I feel like that's kind of walking down kind of a dark path, right? Because sometimes allegations will be made that everybody thinks is false. And then later on, it turns out that they're true. And sometimes people will make allegations that people think are true, and it turns out they're false later on. So I don't really like that standard. Gamma says it's not 100% accurate. They reconnected in 2017. Lolly shows evidence of that, but this isn't that big of a deal anyways, just semantics. Okay. No clue told me younger was better, so I thought you'd like me more if I told you my age. Yeah, I would not have gone for a 14-year-old when I was 18, so I can't say I agree with him there. 4 years isn't so bad this far in, but at 14, you're still finding a lot of what life is, and I'd see that as predatory. Yeah, when I was underage, I wanted to fuck an older guy so badly. It just so happened all the predators around me were inept as fuck, and I just trolled them for being thirsty. Oh my God, oof. I'm very thankful you didn't end up with one of those. Holy shit. I can see this person really warped your views. He really did. Thankfully, I have zero attraction to people unless I love them. All the thirsty weirdos didn't do it for me, and I was and am an asshole, so I literally just fuck with them. Man, here I thought you had a harmless childhood crush on me. Didn't you want to fuck me ASAP? Ha ha ha. I am violently sexual. But absolutely, I would not have let you do that regardless of how well we got along. Younger me would be disappointed. Current me appreciates it. Ha ha ha. I'm glad you grew up. I mean, it seems like he didn't. It seems like the DMs for the time look bad with no explanation or anything. Without all this info, it seems really bad, right? Like, that's the natural conclusion you draw. But With all this other conversation, it seems really bad. And I think this is the thing with allegations. You never know. You never know how they're going to turn out, right? You never know how things are going to go, basically. I'm glad you grew up. Oh, yeah, and I'm well. I guess it just seemed like an unrelated statement. I also remember you were really put off by my age, but I was like, I don't see the problem because blank always talked about younger girls being better, so I was legitimately questioning it, I guess. You told me that story. It's kind of messed up. It's honestly a miracle no one took advantage of me as a kid. I'll say it is. You're very fortunate. Like, I wanted to date an older dude really badly when I was a kid. Like, I literally had a goal to have underage sex and was depressed when I turned 16. Ha, ha, ha. Man, I'm so happy you never got hurt back then. So, so happy. Right? You are the luckiest person alive. Wow. I think the whole picture here changes everything about their side of those logs. Their framing of events to make me look like the predator really upset me when I saw this again. Regardless of some jokes on a screen, this is the real tragedy I prevented from happening. I refused to be their friend for so much less than their actual motive. It wasn't just me either. They said they targeted multiple other adults for sex. My feelings about this are complicated. It's horrible in so many ways that they wanted to use me for underage sex and then frame it like I was preying on them because of some text from 14 years ago. But I also feel for them when I think about how bad their situation probably was. As for the modern stuff they showed, that was after more than a decade of no contact. I had only vague recollections of what our conversations were like back then, and years into this new friendship, I was asking if as adults they wanted to text roleplay but spicy. I was forward about that so they wouldn't think I just wanted silly stuff like I remembered us doing. For the record, I was single and they were fine with me asking. I wasn't in a good headspace when I asked for them to roleplay stuff. It was the worst year of my life. I think I just wanted to feel close to someone I cared about in that loneliness. She told me she liked and missed roleplay, so I thought it natural to ask. Plus, by that point, we'd been friends again for years. It was 12 years since I cut contact. I didn't even remember most of our old talks, and we put our awkward past behind us, so any bad implications weren't exactly there for me. Save for the one time they ran into me as an adult, I have only ever known this person online. Nothing else ever happened. This was the first time I'd asked them for anything since learning what I liked. More on that in a second. If Lolly is reading this, I'm sorry I made you hurt. I don't think what I've said changes that. I mean it. Though I guess I'm surprised at this. We were friends until this, got along better as adults, and I was glad to have you in my life without that inappropriate crush. It was basic knowledge to both of us that you were the one who wanted me, and I shut it down. I even apologized last year for asking for roleplay stuff, and you said you forgave me and considered me a true friend. I don't really know what you were thinking. I didn't even remember these chats, so I was genuinely confused what you'd even be speaking out about when I heard it was you. It hurt a lot to see that you don't know if I ever considered you as a real friend. I told you that you were awesome and funny and smart. A lot. We got each other through difficult times. You were a bright spot in my darkest time, and I admired you for it. I spent your birthday with you. You mattered to me so much that we just had a nice conversation about how much we care about each other right before this too. I want you to know that I cried when I wrote this because it was the moment where it really hit me that I'll never speak to you again. The hardest part of all of this was going through our chats to find proof of my intentions. In doing so, I opened a time capsule of a beautiful friendship that doesn't exist anymore and saw all the very real ways we helped each other. I wish you talked to me about it. I would have listened. I saw you as a friend for life. Please don't get angry at the person who posted these chat logs. They were looking out for their friend and my former friend, and it's possible they didn't have the context either. They were being a good friend. I mean, they probably didn't have the context. Did that person respond at all? Did they ever say anything? Did they ever say anything about it? I'm super, super curious. Westerlobe. Doesn't exist. Huh. Oh, Worsterlobe. At Worsterlobe. If they said anything. Lolly's follow-up. Okay. What the fuck could they even say at this point? Oh my god, bro. Okay, 1,800 words, not that bad. I would like to start this out by saying, Emil, I did not and never have wanted you to harm yourself. I'm sorry you're at such a low point that you considered ending it all, and that's not what I've ever wanted by coming forward with what I have. I was horrified by the thought there might have been others like me at the time, minors, that you spoke to inappropriately or worse, and there would have been no way to know if it were like that if someone didn't say something. I'm sorry if you felt as though I backstabbed you. I still stand by my decision and am relieved beyond words that it doesn't seem to be the case so far. As your former friend and someone who still cares about your well-being despite circumstances like this, I truly hope you can recover and find happiness. I mean... I mean, you say you had good intentions, but like you misrepresented what happened here. Like you clearly did that. So, and the thing is, you don't even have a public reputation, Lolly. But fucking Chugga Conroy does, and the one who's going to suffer from this. I don't know. And the thing is, even though he disproved the allegations, there's still always going to be people who think that they're real. I mean, it's obvious just based on the fact that Lady Emily's tweet about this got 40,000 likes. I mean, how many likes did this tweet get? 10,000 likes. His response only got 13,000 likes. So there's still going to be people out there who think he's like a pedo or something. My original statement was made because I realized how much of me and Emil's past was unacceptable from an adult to a minor, and my main worry was that it wasn't only me. In Emil's statement, he also agrees it's not acceptable behavior, and that was why he allegedly cut me off, which brings me to why I'm making this new statement. I never wanted to have to come back to this, and I didn't think I'd need to, but I feel as though it's my responsibility to let people know that several of things in Emil's statement were untrue. And it's not something up to interpretation. It's not a case of he said, she said. It's just not true. Below are screen caps of Emil's statement for reference. The allegation that he cut me off with no contact and there was a 10-year age gap between us speaking is just simply untrue, and if he claims he went through our chats together, he would have definitely known this. The original logs, the ones from Meebo to Gaia in the first statement, were from across 2010. After that, we had transitioned to talking on Skype and then to Discord. Skype saved conversations locally back then, unsure if that's still how it is, or those logs are inaccessible to me, otherwise I had included them. We've been friends on Discord since March 19th, 2017, and transitioned from Skype, which is why it seems like we just pick up where we left off. We spoke casually, not daily, of course, but at no point was contact ever cut off. We did meet at a convention, however, there was no 10-year gap. The first time we met at a convention was in 2016, and it was discussed beforehand. It could not have been 10 years later, as I never attended any conventions during the COVID lockdown era, or was even able to, so his timeline of events could not be possible. Below is a screen cap of when our conversation started, and this is from 2017. Here are screen caps to support that it continues casually into following years. Okay. As we continue talking to 2020, where he acknowledges we've known each other for a decade. So she's saying they never cut contact here. Well, just because they said that they knew each other for a decade doesn't mean there wasn't a point of no contact. But the original DMs were in 2009, and then there was like 5 years after that. So maybe it wasn't 10 years, maybe it was 5 years. In 2021, the first year, more than a decade had passed since the logs in my original statement. Our first conversation was when Emil had reached out to me following a breakup of his partner of 10 years, and we did start talking a lot more frequently after this. I found it curious in reading a statement that this time frame that I suddenly exist again in his timeline and deserve a second chance. I would never share this given I know Emil's partner did not want anything of the relationship to be public, but as Emil himself had crossed that boundary and revealed it to the public, I felt as though it was okay to include now given it's relevant to the timeline. And the person I'm sorry for having, okay, this stuff's kind of irrelevant. What I'm curious about is talking about their relationship when they were younger, when she was younger, rather, or lack of relationship, seemingly. Here's the actual part of that log in which tickling and feet are mentioned. This is provided in my statement. I'm including it here again for reference. It's very clear it's Emil who brings up his feet being tickled in his shoes. At the time, I thought nothing of it, but knowing what that topic means to him now and seeing him lead the chat to that in 2010 when I was 15, it was concerning to me, and knowing how many other fans I worried that there may have been others. I don't know what he felt or thought at the time, but I can say with knowledge I have now, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I wanted to be specific about the gift I sent to Emil. It was a shirt. It had an arrow pointing up saying the man and an arrow pointing down saying the legend, the kind of lame gag you'd find at Spencer's. You can decide for yourselves if that's something sexually explicit. I didn't think of it as something that would make him uncomfortable, something he'd find funny. I'm sorry, that wasn't how it was received. I was curious why he didn't say what the gift was, so maybe it wasn't a sexual gift, but he interpreted it as her having a crush because of the man and the legend being on it, which I think is a fair interpretation. I cut contact with them to begin with this allegation is horrifying, and nowhere in the logs he or I provided did I say I tried to manipulate him into sex. I said I was sad when I turned 16 because I genuinely thought that being younger was better, and the men wouldn't be as interested in me when I was legal. This kind of thing is horrible, and I understand and acknowledge this now. But back then, there were so many people that joked about stuff like that, and to me, someone who sadly grew up online around a lot of these people, I thought it was true. But never did I try to manipulate him or anyone else into sex. That is perhaps the most disturbing comment made, not because of what happened, but as a general comment about the topic. It's very harmful. Many people might have the takeaway from that comment that underage people are just trying to manipulate adults into sex. The underage person is to blame, and it's the responsibility of the adults not to do anything sexual, not the other way around. It seems like he didn't do anything sexual. He didn't fuck her. He didn't really sext her. But I'm confused on this because he says he didn't know he was even into it at the time, and it wasn't a sexual thing for him. She said she didn't think it was at the time, but now with hindsight, she thinks it was. So I'm having a hard time with that's like the one thing in this entire thing that's a big question for me, I guess. It doesn't seem like she really provides any new screenshots apart from the fact that they didn't cut contacts. They talked in 2017. but we don't have proof of them talking before that for the like 5-year gap or whatever. 6-year gap, 7-year gap. He said it was a 10-year gap, but I'm it doesn't totally add up on every side. His response seems pretty good, but okay, it seems like a lot of this other stuff isn't screenshots talking about it. I'm curious his final thing. Just because I know it will come up, I have to be real. This whole experience was so harmful to my health. I'm not sure if I even want this job anymore. I don't know if the life I would have if I started making videos again would be anything I would like, and it sucks to admit that about something I had such passion for. It's something I would have to think about for longer. What little creative energy I had would always go toward this, and not some fun video I wanted to make. I cared more about telling my side of it, fixing my problems, and improving my mental health. I'm in no state to perform, so don't expect me to show up at events. I think many of you will still have criticisms for me. I anticipate many jokes at my expense, and that's okay. I wouldn't have come here today if I didn't know and accept that. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. The thing is that one DM, he was definitely falsely accused in so many respects. But the one question is that one DM where it kind of looks like roleplay with her. You know what I mean? This is a bad DM talking about the mental ward, himself at 19, how he's been. I guess we'll read it. I have something else speaks to my mind of where I was when I was 19. I didn't want to open up about this at any point, but it's a part of this now. I've mentioned in the past I didn't have the happiest childhood due to an especially traumatic time when I was assaulted as a child. I was left unable to enjoy sex until well into my adult life. The idea of anything sexual beyond edgy teenage jokes at the time was foreign to me at 19, and I think my awkwardness shows it. While I may not know why I sent every little instant message 14 years ago, I know what state my body and mind were in at that time, how I struggled with comprehending anything sexual, and how it hindered my attempts at relationships. Even with the people I was comfortable dating, I struggled with concepts like them seeing me naked or enjoying sex for years after that. You can see this in my videos with how inept I was at knowing about sex for so long, or how I could say unfortunate things about it, or how I could say unfortunate things and not know it. Perhaps this is also why I didn't shut down things sooner, and how I didn't think of what their overtly sexual messages could mean, besides people just being dumb as fuck at 19. I had no experience or understanding of sexual situations, and it took my mom pointing it out for me to see what was going on. I just matched the vibe of my funny friend until it became too much, and then I left. Well, this person says they never cut contact, but it seems like they did kind of cut contact. I don't know. Mustsaay, or Mustsaay, however you say their name, said, after communicating with Emil, I would like this message out there. Yes, he and I were engaged. Keeping it private was a mutual decision, especially through the first several years. After that, when he expressed interest in becoming public, I was hesitant because of how much social pressure was already put in our relationship. He was respectful of that, and we proceeded with the status quo. We do not condone the harassment of any party, and the omission was an effort to prevent speculation about our now separate personal lives. Ultimately, it was a personal matter and a joint decision between two adults. I would like to reiterate that my objective with my previous post was just to be left alone, and that has not changed. I was being asked a lot of invasive questions with increasing frequency, as I'm sure Emil has as well. We do not want to be associated. We do not want to hear of each other moving forward. A mutual sentiment as our paths are now completely separate, and we want to move on with our lives. Although I cannot be a part of his journey, I wish him luck on his healing and his path forward. Interesting. I think I need to call Gamma to talk about this. I need to call Gamma to talk about this. What's the deal with that fucking DM? What's the deal with that DM? Gamma, you better be on fucking Discord or I'm gonna fucking swat you. He's literally not even answering the fucking call. Okay, this guy's a piece of shit. Unsubscribe from his channel. He's a rat. There's no redeeming him. Gamma did post a video about it. You're an old bag of skin. The thing I'm so confused about is just that one DM that looks like roleplay, but he said it wasn't roleplay, and I mean now he's saying he was abused, so he never would have even considered it.
I absolutely love talking about drama, especially after there is a series of record-correcting events or circumstances that proceed after the fact. I absolutely love presenting factual information that can absolutely clear up everything or save someone's reputation, or make it worse. That being said, I want to talk about Chugga Conroy today, and yet another example of a perturbed individual canceling or attempting to cancel someone out of spite. Earlier this year, I want to say mid-January, not even a full month into the year, some pretty uncanny allegations were brought forward by this person named Emily in regards to widely beloved creator Chugga Conroy. If you don't know who Chugga Conroy is, or as I will refer to him, Conroy, because I can't be bothered to say the full name, he is a very long-running Let's Play YouTuber bolstering 15 years on the platform and 1.2.
All the women who came forward are kind of rats. I mean, I mean, rat implies that they snitched. It seems like a lot of the allegations they made were pretty silly. It seems like he didn't actually groom anyone. The worst thing I will say is that roleplay DM. He says it's not sexual. She says she didn't think it was, but now she thinks it might be. I guess it's just up to whose word you want to take on that. They're definitely bad, but you know, out of context, they're bad. With everything else surrounding it, it seems to me like he probably was not grooming her, dude. It seems like Lady Emily's allegation is completely retarded. This other girl's seemed more valid, and now that we have more context, it's like the allegations were at the very least exaggerated.
25 million subscribers. It was 1.27.
All right.
I'd see other statements he made are not as factual as Emil has claimed them to be. I feel like the statement is very loaded. Despite the time frame that Conroy has, but I can still respect how amicable he's trying to be. Unfortunately for Conroy, in this document, he does get a little bit personal, where he talks about his autism and struggles with social cues. He explains this to add some insight as to why he was so persistent in messaging Emily so much after she had ghosted him, because he didn't understand her intent with that. He was just concerned for her safety. I think it's important to mention this part in full right here. I did everything she wanted me to do once she told me she didn't like it, and took it into my own hands to get mental health.
I mean, once again, the Lady Emily thing was completely retarded.
And learn more about my issues. It
seemed consensual on both sides. I mean, but the question... With Lady Emily, yes. But with the other girl, I think it would be a problem, right? You can say it seemed consensual, but if you're talking to a 15-year-old and it, like, obviously it matters the age of him. His age matters, but if it seems consensual, if she's 15, we generally say that 15-year-olds can't consent to sexual role play or sex with an adult because they don't have the mental faculties to understand the gravity of what they're doing, right? So, yeah. Hi.
Hey, what's up? What do you call for? What do you need to know?
So what's the deal with that one role play DM? What's your interpretation of that?
Okay, so which one in specific? Because there was a couple of them. Like in terms of what?
It's this one right here when she says, here's the actual part of the log in which tickling and feet are mentioned. This was provided in my first statement. I'm including it here for reference. It's from Chugga and Lolly. What's your interpretation of that?
My interpretation of that whole fucking Pokemon shit, I did read it out in that video that you're watching right now. Sorry, I was outside. So my interpretation of that is that he might have just misremembered or skimmed over the text and didn't actually like understand the full context of it, because he does reply to that whole discrepancy over on over on Twitter. He does make a few tweets regarding it, and he basically just summarizes that as, oh, you know, it was just him, you know, him misremembering it. So what I think is that maybe he's being truthful, who's, you know, we don't really like there's no way to absolutely know because we're not him. Like I don't think it was inherently sexual what he was doing, and if we can take what he's saying at face value, despite it being
this
like,
is the kind of thing he's into, right? But he wasn't at the time, or he didn't know he was.
Well, he says he wasn't at the time. And it's a very fair possibility that he wasn't at the time. But again, right, we like, who's to say that at the time maybe it was just something that he was like getting into and then it developed into a fetish, or who's to say that it wasn't already a fetish, right? Like there's no way. It's just, you know, it's whether we want to take that claim like you know, at face value, if we want to believe him on that or not. But I personally don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. Personally, I think that it's probably something that he got humor from, or at least some sort of enjoyment from. But there was definitely nothing that was like, you know, inherently sexual about, you know, the communications that they have.
The other question I have, I guess, is he said that there was no contact for 10 years. She's like, well, we did actually have contact, but she didn't really specify how long they didn't actually talk. It seems like there was a period when they didn't talk at all, but like, what's the deal with that?
Okay, so as it turns out, based on Lolly's document and cross-referencing it with the document, which is something I do in that video too, by the way, if you want to like look into it more. So as I was reading through both of them, neither of them can really back up the claim that they communicated on Skype after, you know, 2010.
There were no DMs posted for that, yeah.
Yeah. He does acknowledge it as well on Twitter. He does make a few tweets in regards to it, and he says that they did have a brief communication on Skype, but again, there's no logs to like, you know, confirm or deny that, and there's nothing to prove that they communicated past 2010. At that point, I mentioned that like, you know, the whole whether they communicated for 6 years, or like whether they went without communication for 6 years or 7 years or 10 years or whatever, it's just semantics, right? You know, only a 3-year difference that they didn't go out with the communication. I feel like the most important thing to take away from that is that he did notice that this chick was kind of like messed up, but again, a lot of teenagers back then on the internet kind of behaved like her. I'm pretty sure if you were terminally online back in like 2012, you'd see a lot of teenagers, you know, kind of like be edgy and overtly fucking horny on main all the time. It's just something that did happen. I'm pretty sure he must have caught on to her being like that and then just got uncomfortable and, you know, cut contact. Because if his claims are anything to go by...
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like that conversation they had in 2021 on Discord where they basically talked about the fact that like he cut contact because he realized that she wanted to fuck him. And she's like, oh yeah, I did. Oh, I'm glad you cut contact with me. Like that is
okay. That in specific, it's really up
that's
to,
like that's like one of the biggest game changers, and she agrees with him, right? So
I don't think I think that might have been him. Like, if we're gonna give faith to what Lolly said in regards to that, and if we're gonna give, because again, Chugga Conroy did respond to this on Twitter, it could have just been him like miscontextualizing what she said, and like just a little bit of a miscommunication, him assuming that.
But how can you
was
miscommunicate
on him?
The thing is, like, she directly said she was in those DMs, basically, right? Like they seem pretty cut and dry to me.
When she addresses that in her document, she says that she was referring to something else entirely and wasn't actually admitting to her liking him. It was just something that was lost in in text, right?
I feel like that doesn't really even make sense.
It doesn't. But me, I like to give the benefit of the doubt. I like to give grace to people. So I'm gonna just say that.
But given the fact she left out so much, why would we give her the benefit of the doubt?
I mean, I agree, right? But I'm just trying to like be a little bit more, sympathetic with the fact that somebody as a minor shouldn't have been on the internet like that back then. I don't think Chugga Conroy did anything wrong. That's my personal take. I genuinely don't think he did anything wrong at all. Like the worst you could get him for. The worst you could get him for is just bringing up foot stuff, which most people would, find weird. But for the most part, he didn't groom anybody.
To be clear, the Lady Emily thing is totally retarded.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely retarded.
That allegation is really bad. Yeah. She was fine with it. She basically called him out for attention and fucking crying points or whatever. But yeah, as far as this, she has she responded to this at all? I haven't seen any response from her on her Twitter.
I think she did respond to it, but it's not worth looking into. All she does is basically double down.
I can't see it.
I don't know if she deleted the tweet or not, but when I was doing research for this, because I fucking basically covered everything from beginning to end, she basically said that she still stands firm on her belief that his apologies to her were kind of hollow, and that she was still kind of perturbed or bothered by his constant outreach, which I guess is fine. But to insinuate that he was like some sort of harasser is bullshit. Like to insinuate that
he absolutely did not sexually harass her. She consented and she didn't like it after the fact. She felt embarrassed, dude. Because of her big fucking size 15 stinky feet. Okay, that's why she was embarrassed.
That's something that I mentioned in my video. Actually, is like I say that you can't retroactively apply your discomfort with current day information to say that you were being harassed back then, right? You can't do that. You can't regret this, you can't regret a communication or a relationship or like a connection you had with somebody because now they're being called out for being uncomfortable weirdos, right? That's not something that you can just do, especially in regards to Emily. You can't just say that this person made you uncomfortable because they're getting praise on the internet for not being fucking.
I mean, that's like her intention with that seems like envy or jealousy. Like she's mad about the fact people like him, and she's like, I know the real him. And it's like they had
that's exactly what it was.
And it's just like they had like an interaction that was like fine with her at the time. Later, she's like, I kind of saw that as uncomfortable. He apologizes and it ends there. And then later on, she decided to do this. You know what I mean?
If we are to take what Chugga Conroy said at face value 100%, then I feel like he was genuinely he genuinely felt bad, and he might have genuinely just like had bad communication because he is fucking autistic. It's pretty evident that he doesn't know what the fuck how to communicate with
Bro's
people.
A retard. Yeah.
It's a possibility that to him it was all just jokes and that there was some sexual, background to it. But, he does state that he wasn't trying to do that with his friends. It's a definite possibility that, he just, did a couple things that these people didn't like because he doesn't know how to communicate with people. But that doesn't mean that, again, he harassed anybody or that he fucking did anything overtly, negative, right? I genuinely think that he's innocent in all of this, and that people blew it out of proportion because of the way that these guys presented and miscontextualized the information, right? Emily and Mustsaay and Lolly and whatever, they definitely used a little bit of loaded language that painted the image.
The thing is just not only loaded language, like I think that looking back, like the conversation he had with the Lolly person definitely seems like the roleplay stuff, it seems very uncomfortable, but I feel like once again a lot of it could have been cleared up if she just talked to him about it, because
I actually do mention that again in my video. I keep saying that too much. Okay, look, so go on Twitter right now and type in pedo crush and some of the references that he made on Twitter.
Do I really want to look that up?
It won't bring up anything bad. It won't bring up anything bad. But if you look it up on Twitter right now, you'll find a lot of people using the phrase pedo crush as a joke or as a term of endearment back in like 2009 to 2011 or 2013. So that I can't even fault him for saying that, because back then he's right. It was just a joke that people would throw around, and it was the way that people would communicate if they were in their teens. It doesn't matter whether they were like fucking, like 13 years old or 18. Like, if you were on the internet back then, which unfortunately I fucking was, and I witnessed a lot of bullshit, you'll see people communicating like that, but
I did look it up. I did look it up, and I do see a lot of people making jokes about it, basically.
Yeah, back in the day, right? It's not like,
like 2010, 2012, yeah.
Yeah, that stuff, when I saw it, because I was, fucking terminally online back then, and I was a fucking loser.
How fucking old are you?
I'm literally just a couple months older than you, dude.
How were you terminally online when you were 9?
I wasn't terminally online when I was 9. I was terminally online when I was 13. But a lot of the stuff that stemmed from 2010 kind of like leaked into 2012, 13, 14, 15 and up, right? So you would, in fact, as a matter of fact, the only reason I remembered this is because pedo crush was a term that I saw from fucking Shane Dawson and Trisha Paytas when I was doing research between them, because they also said that fucking joke at one point in time. I was gonna use that as a point of reference because it was a common joke, but I couldn't find the fucking tweets. But but I did remember that it was in fact a common joke. So I can't even fault him for the DMs back on AOL or whatever the fuck they were texting on, because that type of behavior was pretty common. And as a matter of fact, I can kind of commend him for understanding that the situation was going in a bad direction, and I can commend him for cutting contact after the fact, or at least kind of like distancing himself. Yeah. So as for all that DM stuff, no, I can't really give him too much shit about it. Was he kind of a little bit immature? Sure. But it was 2009, it was 2010, it was 2011. A lot of fucking people were, without necessarily like grooming or like, sexually harassing anybody.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing to me is that it seems like in this situation, nobody was groomed and nobody was sexually harassed is the biggest thing, right?
Yeah,
that seems like
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Unless more shit comes out, which we don't know, but as it seems right now, at this point,
I doubt more is going to come out. I feel like it would have come out, right?
Now, what I do find kind of insane though is that they all double down. They all double down. I feel like the worst people out of all of this.
But the weirdest part is like they double down, but they're also like, but I wish him well.
But I wish him the best.
If you think you were groomed by this guy, you can't say you wish him well.
Yeah, you can't say that. You fucking ruined his life, apparently. I genuinely, if I have to like sort of give my pseudo psychological take on it, or fucking armorist psychology take on it, I feel like he was genuinely fucking mentally destroyed by all of this. So you can't wish him well after you like mentally fucking murdered this dude, somebody with these type of autistic traits or these emotional inabilities. I can only imagine the amount of turmoil he's going through right now, the discomfort he was given because of these guys, right? And it's apparent because of how personal he got in his documents and his tweets, right? These guys were definitely fucking assholes. They should have if anything, all of this stuff should have been communicated in private, which it was. They just decided to come out with it anyways, right? And he used a mediator to communicate with them if what he's saying is true. Like, he asked a friend to apologize on his behalf because these people didn't want to communicate with him.
Yeah.
Right? The one fucking thing that really rubs me the wrong way though is more specifically on Mustsaay's side. She came out saying that she didn't want to associate with this individual because Chugga Conroy.
This is the thing. She said she didn't want to associate, and it's like, my only intention was to say I didn't want to be around him. But at the same time, you say he's engaged in all this uncomfortable behavior, and you pile on the allegations, and then
the thing is,
it's a very cowardly way to go about things. To be like, I don't associate with him. We used to be collaborators. He's made women uncomfortable, but I won't elaborate. What the fuck is that?
My take on all of that is that they were in a relationship, they were engaged, and they had a very nasty breakup.
Yeah, we know that.
yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, anybody who's been in a relationship,
they had a nasty breakup, and that's why she didn't want to defend him or whatever.
Yes, that's it. It's spite out of a relationship. Anybody who's been in a relationship for that long, or a very emotionally driven relationship, when people break up, it's kind of hard to leave the other person alone, depending on who's more emotionally connected, right? It's very hard to leave somebody alone.
I mean, that's true, but I guess if somebody I dated was falsely accused of being a pedophile, I feel like I would defend them.
So look, my theory is that he was like very persistent and pushy because, you know, of how he is, and he just kept trying to reach out to this girl, and she just got fed up with it. So instead of like ending the relationship, you know, like healthily, she got, you know, spite. It's like you know, full of spite because of the way that he like reacted because of a breakup, because you know how breakups are, right? Anybody can understand this. I feel like she was very spiteful after a messy breakup and just decided to throw him under the bus, using her, you know, their breakup as sort of fuel to the fire about her being made uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That should have been something that should have remained private, in my opinion.
Maybe. I mean, it seems like at this point everybody involved is going to drop it and go their separate ways. But I mean, I think it's worth talking about regardless. You know, interesting story. It's lessons to be learned. But yeah,
lessons to be learned about not fucking falsely accusing anybody or keeping shit private. Like, you know, as a matter of fact, every like allegation.
Dude,
that's
I
come
feel
out
like
in the
there's
last
been
couple
so
years,
many false allegations. Where are the real allegations? Because I know they happen.
right? All of the allegations that have come out in the last couple of years have been mostly false. You know, from Quiet to what's it called? To the recent Dream stuff, to
Alex
George Not
Kister, George Not
Yeah,
Found.
all of that stuff could have been remedied if these people just learned how to fucking communicate and weren't like, you know, completely autistic morons that weren't terminally online that need validation
Welcome
from like
to the internet, my
idiot.
friend.
Yeah,
Welcome to the internet,
yeah.
I guess.
But that's how it is though. But you know, we can't really complain too much because it is content for us, or you know, for some of us, anyways.
I mean, I guess, but I still wish it didn't happen. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
well,
no,
thanks for
I
coming on,
agree.
bro. I do appreciate it. All right, everybody, subscribe to Gamma. What do you want to
Later.
say before I piss down your mouth and kick you off?
Skibbity Gat Riz on phone grave.
Let's go. Number one chatter. All right, thanks for calling, buddy. Take it easy.